Welcome to the Hop Edition podcast, brought to you in association with The Malt Miller, your go-to choice for premium homebrewing ingredients and equipment. Whether you're a beginner starting out or an experienced brewer, The Malt Miller has got you covered. So for top quality products and customer service, jump over to themaltmiller.co.uk and tell them the Hop Edition sent you. We would also like to thank all our Patreons for their continued support with running and developing the pod. If you would like to become a member and gain access to exclusive perks and benefits, head over to patreon.com/the Hop Edition. Now it's time to get this pod started, so crack open a homebrew and enjoy the episode.
Good evening and welcome back to the Hop Edition, the UK's most prominent and longest running homebrew podcast. As always, we're here to talk about the art, science and beauty of our hobby, homebrewing. And today we're going to be deep diving some key topics on Czech Lager brewing. And who better to help us with the discussion than Radim from the legendary Budvar. So welcome. So tonight we're going to be sinking a few Budvars, as you would expect, and just breaking down some classic flavour profiles, talking a bit about the beers, but yeah, getting into some of the more advanced topics of this kind of subject, and hopefully giving you guys some pro tips on how to brew world-class Czech lagers at home. So really looking forward to this one tonight. Before we get stuck in, I just wanted to say a big thank you to our partner sponsor, the Malt Miller, premier supplier of all things homebrew. So if you need something for your homebrewing, check out themaltmiller.co.uk. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our dedicated Hop Edition recipe section, where you'll find a huge range of beers featured from the podcast, including some of our own creation, and also some absolute stunners from our guests from the past. So welcome back, Radim. It's been a few years since you last joined us on the pod, so welcome back. How have you been? And importantly, the opening question, what are you drinking right now?
Hello. Thanks for having me again. It's been quite a few years, I would say now. Yeah, it's 3 years now.
Three, yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's probably about right.
It's been definitely a while. Well, I've been well. I have moved back to Czech Republic. Big thing. This is my first year being back home.
Yeah.
And yeah, I finished my university, the brewing science in Nottingham University. So yeah, I have a paper that that says I know a little bit about beer.
Yeah.
and then like in the past 3 years, like we had so many amazing projects happening. I think that would take the entire length of this podcast to actually describe what happened. So
cool.
It's been great.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing of at least a few of the highlights.
Yeah.
So what are you drinking, Radim?
So I had to really start it with our Budvar original. So that's the flagship lager that we're having. My everyday beer.
The canned version.
Canned version. But previously I had a couple of local beers because, as I mentioned, I'm being back in Czech Republic. So after 13 years returning to motherland, gave me a lot of opportunities to actually discover or rediscover some of the breweries that I might have not known or I might have missed. So yeah, really great time being back in Czech Republic in the land of the lager.
Yeah.
And well, what's the general impression on sort of going back and trying some sort of different Czech lagers?
I must say, like it's how to put it nicely. No, it's definitely like compare like UK craft beer scene in lagers and compare to a Czech craft scene with lagers. It's like a day and night. So all the Czech brewers are trained in brewing lagers. And pretty much like every small brewery that produces a couple of hundred hectoliters per year, they can whip up amazing lager. So yeah, there is a lot, and it's quite interesting how my love and passion for lager has even deepened more.
Yeah. Nice.
Well,
if it's possible.
Yeah.
Well,
Andy, Good evening to you. What's in the glass? What are you drinking?
I've got the bottled version of the Czech Budvar. So yeah, that's what I'm drinking. Also in a Budvar glass as well. So
Yeah.
yep.
I have joined you actually, Andy, in rolling out all of the previous merch that we got 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, I've got the T-shirt on. I'm gonna have to move the mic if we want to see the T-shirt.
Oh, you've got the white T-shirt. I used my Budvar bottle cap opener as well.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's this doesn't depart far from the desk, to be fair, and the Budvar mug, which I love actually. It's
Where did you get the T-shirt on?
This I got from LCBF.
I was thinking that because when we got them last time, they were the dark blue ones.
Yeah, were they black or navy
blue? Navy blue. Yeah.
So I've got that one, and I've got this white one, which I got at LCBF after doing a little fun game thing that was going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, all good. For those eagle-eyed, or indeed sharp-eared listeners, you may notice that we're missing a compadre.
Oh yeah.
So Tricky, unfortunately, is not well, and in fact is suffering with a cold, and his voice is more or less gone. So
Doc, he says he sounds like Doc Cotton.
Yeah, it sounds like he's been smoking like 80 a day for the last 30 years. So he's had to duck out this evening and frankly miss out, because I think he was looking forward to sinking some Budvar and nerding out on lager chat.
Yeah.
Because if anyone loves making a lager, it's Tricky.
Yeah.
Hopefully he will get better soon. He's well missed.
Let's hope so. But yeah, so you're stuck with us tonight, Radim, I'm afraid, and ho hum. I guess we'll have to sink extra beers for Tricky.
Yeah.
So I guess it's 3 years since you last came on the pod. For our newer listeners, do you want to just give us like a quick kind of potted rundown of kind of who are you, Radim, and what do you do for Budvar?
Yeah, so my name is Radim. I work as a global brand ambassador. This is my 6th year with Budvar. Trained as a brewer, but working in the marketing department, doing all the fun international collabs, and running the ambassador program for Budvar, as well as focusing on quality trainings and like all beer things related or lager things related. So my job is very funny. And I get to drink lots of beer on the job too.
I get the impression you do a fair bit of traveling as well, Radim.
Yes. So I'm covering like the key markets, as well as I judge competitions. Like in 2 weeks, I'm going to Philadelphia to judge the World Beer Cup for the 3rd time.
Wow.
Yeah, like the beer sommelier, I think is really going on for me. I'm taking my Domens beer sommelier in June. I love beer education. I love to learn as well as to share it. So I did recently, what was it called? For WSET, covering Czech Lagers. So yeah, I do lots of talks about beers, going to conferences, presenting Czech Lager, and also doing lots of home brewing, actually. So last week I brewed a Czech style lager with one of a newer variety of hops. So yeah, so my life really revolves around beers in general, with a focus on lagers.
Yeah, because did you take your Brutal set up with you back to Czech Republic? Yeah.
I moved back with 40 boxes, of which 36 was just homebrewing stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Sounds about right.
That summarize my passion.
I think I saw your so you're not only obviously a massive advocate of Czech lager and beer in general and Budvar, but you're also a really avid homebrewer, right? And I saw some photos of your homebrew setup, and it's looking pretty sharp. I
mean, like I brewed 6-7 years now, and I to meet the guys, and also once upon a time they sent me some things for beta testing as well, and giving them feedbacks and how to improve the systems. So yeah, there's quite a lot of on my sort of a spare time homebrewing development, and I really like to brew beer, so I don't get to brew at work as much, so I'm trying to equally balance it at home.
Yeah, make up for it.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
I saw a pretty serious brew tool setup going on in your apartment. Maybe was it an apartment?
Yeah, it's in my apartment in the kitchen. I'm using Cedro connector tanks. I'm using the FCS system. Like, I mean, using Anton Par, like pretty much like what you find in like a craft brewery. I have it at home. So it was really good for my course at the University of Nottingham. So I could do some testings, some test brews, test batches, and it's nice when you read and learn about something, but put it in practice and see the results for yourself rather than just like relying on the books, because that's something that I always have come across. There's lots of people, having read shitloads of. Oh, sorry for the swearing. I won't swear.
Hey, okay, don't worry.
Yeah, you can swear all you like.
Yeah,
mate.
so shitloads of books, and then they challenge you. And I said, like, have you tried it? It's like, no, but it's written in the book, and the discrepancies that you will find sometimes, it's just interesting. So yeah, so one thing is to read, second thing is to test, and I think when you combine both things together, that's what brewing and homebrewing is about.
Yeah.
Yeah, practical application of theory, right? Yeah. Oh, good
Correct.
on you. Yeah, that's amazing. And Brew Tools do a student discount, right?
I cannot disclose, but
your inside relationships with it's all about who you know. It's all about who you know. Oh, amazing. So what, like, I know you've talked a lot about like all the things you've been up to in the last 3 years. It's hard to recap 3 years, but maybe just what's some of the key highlights in terms of what you've been up to in the last, maybe even 6 to 12 months. Radim.
Okay, well, I mean, just summarizing last year, like I did 3 projects at 3 continents with 3 different breweries.
Yeah.
So we brewed with Omnipojo in from Stockholm, Sweden.
Wow.
I mean that's a highlight myself.
Yeah,
like
easy.
Just as we did Mikkeller the 3 years ago as well. Like reading about these guys, drinking them beers, and all of a sudden hanging out in the brewery.
Yeah.
Collaborating over recipe and like making things happen together. I mean, that was a great ride. Managed to scoop in a collab with Samuel Adams. So that's
Sam Adams, cool.
So that was a great project as well. And then we did a collab with the Burley Brewing in Australia. So it was quite interesting, to brew on the other side of the world, literally. So there was a highlight as well. I mean, I judged World Beer Cup and the GABF in the same year. So that was massive highlight, going to GABF for first time ever, judge it, meeting one of the heroes that I have, for my beer list. So ticking the boxes, hanging out with the guys. Probably going to do something with Canada Disclose Who, but 2027 there's lots of interesting things. I mean, really lifetime tick boxes for me, like in terms of
Yeah.
there was a lot of happening. Managing the university. Managing the projects and going to festivals. We went to MBCC last year. We did all the Mikkeller festivals, so Copenhagen, Faroe Islands, and Beijing. Went to South Korea. Found amazing brewery that we're going to do something this year with as well. So it's I mean 2026 is bearing the fruits from 2025. So yeah, there's been a lot. There's been a lot and lots of amazing things. Met amazing people. I must say, like this is the reason I work in brewing, because like there's no community like in brewing. So lots of amazing people. We train our new ambassadors. So we've got now 15 ambassadors around Europe. So I sound positive today. I'm sure I was skeptical, but yeah. So now maybe like just reminiscing about last year. Yeah, there was lots of interesting projects, and I got to know some great people from the industry. So
Oh, awesome. It sounds like you've been a busy boy.
Yeah, very.
Did I see
Yeah.
you? Did I see you were in Copenhagen at Macalla not too long ago?
See,
Well, no, I wasn't in Copenhagen. Mikkel was in Czech Republic.
Oh, okay.
Secret project again.
Ah, interesting.
Give me 2 months and I can talk more about it. But yeah, there will be some good news from Budvar Brewery. Yeah, we walked around the brewery for like a third time, I think this time, and yeah, we managed to do something. There might be ale coming out of our brewery just as a bonus.
no.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting. Okay. Yeah, I was
It
going to
might,
dig for a hint, and you just gave it
yeah,
to us. So,
it might involve some some other type of cereal that is not commonly used in brewing.
okay.
And it definitely will include some hops that is not very typical Czech. So Southern Hemisphere
Interesting.
hops. So that's all I can say at the minute.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. No, you've given us some bits to chew on there. Thanks for the inside line. That sounds really exciting. So you guys were hosting Macalla at Budvar.
Yes, so the Mikkeler team came over with Mikkel himself, and we had like quality time for 3 days, tasting lots of beers.
Yeah, I bet it sounds like a tough job, Radim. I'm not going to lie.
Well,
I mean, you know, like don't trust the socials. Yeah, so what you see on socials is the peak of the iceberg.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What you're seeing is like the kind of Hollywood reel of the job.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And my job involves lots of admin, lots of spreadsheets. So you know, what you see in socials, that's the fun part of the job.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
usually, yeah, it's like in any job basically.
Planning. Yeah, you've got to plan everything. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. The
I'm
grind.
I'm moving to beer number 2, which is a collab that we did. I did myself with Med Scientist in Budapest.
In Budapest. Okay.
I'm trying it for the
Nice.
first time. I haven't tried this beer yet. So
Oh, okay. What beer style is it?
well, it's Czech style lager.
Okay. Nice.
What a surprise! But yeah, we did this collab for second year in a row, using Saaz Brilliant and Saaz Shine. So one of the newer varieties of Saaz,
All right.
and yeah, it's a 4.9% Czech style lager. You know, with really like mild bitterness, around 25 IBUs. Fermented with Budvar yeast strain. I was sending yeast from the brewery directly to them, and they changed the label. The last year was like a blue focus color. Today, this year's red. But yeah, I think they're celebrating 10 years anniversary.
Yeah.
So this is part of the 10 years collab package as well. So I must say I'm quite happy with the result.
Yeah. Right. Tasting good, huh? And I had no idea that there were different varieties of Saaz. You just
Yes,
blew
there
my
is
mind.
there's a newer varieties. So obviously, like Saaz is one of the like oldest hop or noble hop varieties, and with the planet changing thanks to people, then you know it's the growers need to be on the top of the development of the new varieties. That are, you know, much more like much more withstanding to droughts, much more like being affected by the higher temperatures or the diseases,
Yeah.
disease resistant. So there is quite a few.
But
new
they
varieties.
struggle to match Saaz though. That's the problem. It's trying to get it to be like Saaz, but also disease resistant. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
say, and good crop yield. Yeah.
I mean, that's always like the growers just like say it themselves. Basically, like everyone wants the regular Saaz. No one really wants the new one, so they like
Uh-huh.
sponsor competition with the hops. I can see it in Czech Republic, like more and more craft breweries like using the newer varieties, which is a good signal. But to
Okay.
get it outside of Czech Republic, that's much harder because everyone wants the Saaz. But
Yep.
also like the yields are lower, the alphas are lower. I mean, the Saaz will be here for a while, but then if you get a crop year with a 2.8 alpha acids, and then you need to match certain amount of IBUs, you're going to get lots of polyphenols in that wort that you need to boil it. So yeah, it's really I mean, there's a pros and cons, but the new varieties like when we did the Omnipoyo, we also brewed with the newer varieties as well as with Saaz. So it was called triple Saaz, so standard Saaz and two newer varieties. Just to like show that there are more varieties. As I clearly see, there is not enough conversation about new varieties.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
no, yeah, totally. And I actually very quickly kind of Googled it. So you got like SARS Brilliant, SARS
So,
Comfort, SARS Shine.
some
What's
special,
Sazer? What's Sazer? The
That's
one that's
German SARS, isn't it?
is
so
that what it is?
so you've got the red leaf Saaz, and then you've got the green leaf Saaz, which is originally like Moravian and Saaz, but it's grown now in hop growing regions in Germany. But again, different soil, different weather conditions, and it's always good to know like where your Saaz come from, because sometimes some hop resellers, if you ask for a Saaz, they'll send you the German one. So you really need to know the origin of the hops. That happened to
Yeah.
us in Australia. We did a pilot batch, and I'm like, the hop profile is weird. And he was like, yeah, it's Saaz. I'm like, but what's the origin? And we traced it back to the supplier, and the supplier said, oh, it's German Saaz.
Ah,
So we
Yeah.
had like 20 hectoliter batch. It was like, what are we going to do with it? Because like that's not what we want to brew. But essentially, I think it was sold out in the tap room as as, as, a,
Cause
as a trial.
Radim, I've got Scottish Saaz in the garden.
It would
It
be
was good.
amazing.
It was
It would be
good as
amazing
well.
to try the beer.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the weather conditions there's not much like hot temperature in the summer, but there's
No.
lots of rainfall. So it
Yeah.
would be quite interesting, how, and also like Scottish salt is amazing for growing things, right? Like
Uh-huh.
anything like barley, oats, like
Yeah.
wheat. So I mean, it would be quite interesting to sample that. We never know.
Yeah.
I might turn up in north and do something in September.
Yeah, that's it. I did was it last year for the harvest I did a wet hop Saaz and did it all the late edition. And yeah, it turned out amazing. It was really good. So yeah. It was just a kind of slightly toned down version of Saaz, basically, was how I would describe it. Still had that kind of, it was a bit of lemony thing going on, and yeah, no, it
Okay.
was nice.
Don't do. Oh,
Don't dish the Scottish Saaz, I'm not you.
Brett's in the chat. Yeah, it's
Brett
bad
in the chat.
as usual.
Okay, it's the Glasgow Kiss, isn't it?
Someone's got a genuine question that says, Budvar's owned by the Czech Republic. Is that right?
Yep.
Does that make you technically a civil servant?
It actually does.
You're employed-
I mean, I would love to be postman or a train driver, but
Beer man.
but beer man, like the national beer man of the Czech Republic.
yeah, you
That's it.
take that title.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's quite interesting. Yeah. So we are our CEO or the entire like structure of the business is a national corporation. So we still need to like grow year on year. We need to prove that we made a profit, but all the profit goes to the state, and we are our CEO director reports to the Minister of Agriculture.
no
Wow.
way.
Yeah, that's mad.
No,
Yeah.
that's blown my mind. I'd totally forgotten that you guys are state-owned.
Yeah,
That's
so we'll go
interesting,
into the
right.
state. Yeah, that's cool.
I love it. I'm going to use that. I'm a civil servant from now on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd go with head of beer for the Czech Republic.
Head of beer for Czech Republic.
That's that.
I mean, just like the ambassador position itself, it's quite interesting. The ambassador for Czech Lagers.
Yep.
Yeah. In many ways, you're an ambassador for the Czech Republic, right? Just specialising in the field of beer, which obviously is one of your great exports.
Actually, quite funny because like last November, I joined the guys from Dvakohuti. It's a craft beer brewery based in Prague. And a couple of years before that, they came to UK and we traveled around, and they wanted to know more about cask beer. So it's like I took them. I managed to get a tour of Timothy Taylor's. They don't do tours.
Yeah.
Like I pulled the Budvar card, and so we got that. So after that, like 2 years later, we were like, okay, so all of us are in Czech Republic right now. Let's brew beer, and we invited the British ambassador to pull the first pint. So I actually managed to get a beer engine. Managed to get actually casks in Czech Republic, and we brewed English bitter or best bitter.
Yep.
And then the ambassador actually came in and pulled it. And I was like, I had to take a picture of it. I was like, it's two ambassadors now, in the room. So
it's right. Slightly different fields, but both ambassadors. Good on you. That sounds like quite the event.
Good fun.
So wait, you guys brewed a British bitter?
Yeah.
In the Budvar brewery.
No. It was in Dvakohuti.
Oh, okay.
So it was
a brewery.
10 hectoliters.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. And were you kind of trying to clone a particular beer, or were you just came up with?
Well, the baseline was Timothy Taylor's Landlord. That's one of my favorite beers.
Right, okay, yeah.
So,
funny.
I mean, we even managed to get the yeast as well.
Sweet. Yeah, sorry, Yeast, yeah.
It's Marius Otter. And and it was quite interesting, and also for my times back in the UK. Sorry, Golden Promise. It wasn't
it's Golden Promise. Yeah.
You're right. And it was quite interesting, explaining Czech brewers the conditioning in the cask.
Yeah, it's a very unique yeast as well, isn't it? So,
yeah.
It's almost like you can't really have a Landlord clone or a Timothy Taylor's beer without their yeast,
I mean, one of my greatest highlights in brewing was entering the room where they store the yeast, because they use the Yorkshire squares, and they top cropping, and they put it in a bucket, and they just leave it in a cold room, and then you walk into a cold room, and just to describe that smell, it was like that, that fruity estery, my God, The only place that I felt similar is our hop storage. When you walk in, you get all the spicy notes of Saaz. So it was
with the bells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, publicly saying thanks to guys from Timothy Taylor's, because they even took us to their lab and they show us some fermentation curves from 50 years ago. All these gems, and I'm like, I mean, that's like a grown man's Legoland sort of situation.
Yeah, right.
Great fun. I miss cask ales. No one really does it well in Czech Republic. So yeah, so a nice dark mild, serving at the rake at London at the Borough Market, having a ginger baked sausage roll, having it together. Fuck me, I'm like.
You miss it. So if you Radim, if you picked up a cask, have you got one yourself?
No, I borrowed it from 3 different breweries with the cask.
You need to get your own one. You need to get your own pin. Just get a pin, a little 5-gallon one, and then obviously have the hand pull at home.
Oh man, I can tell you one thing. That's the hardest thing in homebrewing. I would have to invite ton of people to drink it within those 2-3 days, because that's that oxygen situation that's not good for the beer, and also this the cellaring and everything. That's, I mean, for homebrewing it's too complicated. I saw some guys in the UK now doing the Barton Union thing at home.
Yeah, baggers. Yep.
Yeah, Baggers is like he's
Fuck
spun off
me, when I
his
saw that, I
own,
was like, that's crazy shit. That's really crazy shit.
He's on. He's actually listening. Baggers is on
Here we
listening just
go.
now. Yeah.
yeah, he's in the chat. He's in the chat.
He's in the
started
chat.
his own trend. You know,
Yeah.
he's a trendsetter now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well done, because like that's definitely like one of the hardest, like most challenging things I've seen in the homebrewing, and and I mean, you
But
know,
yeah, he's got myself. I've went and picked up a pin, so I've got one underneath this table. There's a pin there on an auto tilter, and it's hooked up to the beer engine. And what I do is I just get my friends round, and then we just drink it all. So we have like 10 pints or something of real ale, cask ale, and it is amazing. You can't beat it.
Each, just for
10 pints. Oh yeah, 10 pints each. Yeah,
just smash 10 pints.
just smash.
So if you're struggling, Radim, if you get a pin, you're struggling to drink it, we'll just put Andy on a plane and send him over for you. He'll help you out. No worries.
I mean, like the 10 beers is easy for me. That's
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, it does slide down pretty easy, doesn't it? So
Cask, yeah.
us talking about Landlord, I'm going to give the listeners a little spoiler. Because
Yeah.
we do have a Landlord
Future.
off coming up.
Future
as a-
pod, yeah.
As a future podcast, I think Andy,
Still a
you
brew.
and I have all
You two brewed them. I've started brew mine, and it's this Easter holidays. I'm getting it done.
Nice. So I think
There's still time.
About a month's time. I think we're going to be recording that episode. So expect lots of detailed chat about Timothy Taylor's and Landlord and all the fun stuff. And I know I've been following along with Wheatlow Brewery.
Oh, he was there.
His tour. He's been off to Timothy Taylor's and got some tips, and he's been on a UK tour of various places, various breweries, which has been interesting. So hopefully there'll be some like real refinement
content.
of how to nail that.
Landlord.
Nail that beer.
Maybe
So
you could
we'll
give
see.
it to me before I brew it. Owen, give me the top tips before.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, if you've been following along with the chat, you'll know.
20% of dextrose.
Yeah, so there's definitely some sugar. Apparently, it's glucose and invert sugar.
I can't comment on this because I promise I will never bring any of the secrets out of the brewery. So
There you go. There you go. You're sworn to secrecy. And apparently, Burtonized water as well. So heavy sulfate forward water. Whereas I'm pretty sure I went with the more chloride. Heavy, or like it wasn't heavy chloride, but it was more like I can't remember. It was maybe a 2-to-1 ratio chloride sulfate. So yeah, there you go.
I mean, the Landlord itself, like in a flavor, doesn't come across as a hop forward beer, right? Like the bitterness, like I mean, the bitterness is there, but like it's not that like that almost like a astringent or bitey bitterness.
No.
It's more like about that balance and maybe like a malt forward.
Yeah.
So I would.
It does have quite a high booger on when you put the recipe into like Brewfather. It's like over 1 on booger. So I wonder how that's getting offset, if it is just like the Golden Promise and stuff like that, or how that works. Do you know, Owen?
Tell a lie. I didn't go with a chloride forward water profile. I actually went sulfate heavy, but it was relatively balanced. So 65 parts sulfate, 10 parts chloride. So it was a pretty.
That's quite low.
It was quite a
ppm.
low, like, yeah. Whereas
pretty clean.
Baggers was saying it's Burtonized water, which would be like massively higher than that. So,
but also bear in mind if you look at the position where the brewery is.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. You got
what type of water is there, because it's I can't say that.
You can.
No,
Come on.
It's pretty soft water, isn't it? Is it
It's
quite
yeah,
soft
it's soft
in
water. Like
Yorkshire?
actually, yeah. But when we were talking about it, like the aquifer they have in the brewery, like it's like you could brew like good lagers out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Good Czech Lagers out of it, I'd imagine, right? Yeah, interesting. Interesting. I can see the cogs whirring.
So it isn't buttonized then.
I mean, like we were discussing when we were doing the clone in Czech Republic. Like we were talking about like how what because I see the question in a box. We were actually thinking about decocting it.
Yeah.
Just for sake of doing it, but it's you know, I mean, like if you want to honor the tradition, it's like I don't know, doing a Czech lager with infusion, you know. It's we honor the tradition. We did like standard infusion, like no playing around, some surrogation, and that was just about it. And we use and we use Eastern Goldings and Fuggles, I think. Eastern Golding and Fuggles. I don't know.
Styrian Goldens.
Solera.
Yep.
I mean,
aye.
Yeah, Styrian Goldings and
Buggles.
is it Fuggles?
EKG?
No, EKG.
EKG.
I think.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? I think they keep the actual recipe pretty well locked up, don't they? But interesting you talking about decocting it. That could be pretty interesting. So, actually, on the subject of decoction, that was actually kind of one of the main talking points for this evening. So, great to catch up. That was a long, like 35-minute kind of how's it all going, what we've been up to, and but actually, what we wanted to cover in terms of this evening's episode, we're diving into decoction mashing. So
how would you decoct a landlord? That's what we really want to know.
Is that where we're going to end up? Oh dear. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Owen.
where it doesn't exist, but let's do it anyway.
Side quest.
Beauty of homebrewing. So what is decoction mashing? Why is it essential for Czech beer? How can we replicate it as homebrewers? Maybe talk a little bit about melanoid and malts in the mix there. Maybe not, but also the main other talking point was to talk about actually dark Czech beers.
Yeah.
Because I think if you want to go back and hear us talk a lot about, in fact, I recommend everyone goes back to the previous podcast that we recorded with Radim 3 years ago, where we cover a lot of the sort of pale Czech brewing tips. Kind of wanted to dive into dark Czech lager brewing.
Okay.
I know I've recently brewed one.
So you did.
So I'm kind of eager to talk about that, or at least get some ideas on how I refine for version 2. And I know a bunch of people in the chat have also been making them as well, with a degree of success, I think. So we were keen to sort of dive into that. So I'm going to open with a bit of a controversial debate point, right? Which is, does decoction actually change the flavour of beer? Debate, the ultimate homebrew debate.
Yeah, it does.
Yes. Yeah, that was easy. Yes.
In the short, yes, it does. I saw Lance Blackman and from Doorstep Brewing up in Yorkshire in the comment section. So I think he's going to back me up on that, definitely, because he's a like decoction Nazi, if I can call him that, in a good way.
Yeah.
And definitely. So what is decoction or decoction mashing is basically slightly different. So infusion, in infusion you let everything sit at one temperature. Then you got a step mashing where you're heating the meshes up through all the different rests, from proteins to beta alpha amylase rests and all these things. What decoction mashing is basically taking a portion away, put it through all the steps plus boil at 100 degrees boiling temperature. And what it does is basically you get interactions between amino acids and sugars. And what it does, it creates something called Maillard reaction, and Maillard reaction creates melanoidins, and melanoidins are that bready flavors. Maillard reaction also, like in the same analogy, is basically if you bake in a bread, that crust, that's also Maillard reaction. If you sear in the steak, it's also Maillard reaction. So it's adding extra flavor. So what Czech lager is very typical known for is that that bready notes, but the bready notes in the sense of like once you have a sip, 5 to 10 seconds later, once you aerate your palate, you get that beautiful like bread flavors on the side of your. Fuck, I'm thirsty already. That comes from the decoction machine. You know, standardly breweries would use single or double decoction machine. In Budvar, use double decoction machine. Pilsner Urquell uses triple decoction machine. I mean, when we go back to homebrewing, homebrewers will tell you like, yeah, it's a long process. I personally, if I homebrew lagers, I do single decoction and I boil the portion away, the 1/3 or calculated portion for around 30 minutes or 35 minutes. What happens, like, not only you create a flavor because we call it the brewhouse flavor that comes from that boiling. So you need to use low modified malts for that because as you boiling the wort with the husks in and everything, you basically like you break it, like you killing the enzymes, you're breaking down the proteins, you're breaking down the starches. Like it's basically like the molecules burst as the heat intensifies, and you get a higher yield. You get the flavor created. You aiding the clarity. When you're breaking down the proteins to like the amino acids.
It was free amino. Was it fan free? Was it free? What's fan again? Free amino nitrates.
Nitrogen. Free amino
nitrogen. Yeah, which is good for yeast health as well, isn't it? And that's another thing. Correct. That's a good thing. Yeah.
So like there's so many elements that like actually aiding to the flavor of the beer and to good clarity and fermentation. Without like diving deep into like I'm not a microbiologist, so don't ask me about chemistry and shit.
Yeah.
I'm a practical brewer. Like there are people with PhD that can describe it in like 2 hours or 3 hours conversations, but these are the things like I focus on most.
Because see for me, see the fermentation temperature of Czech lager, what is that normally, like 8 or 9 degrees Celsius?
Anything less than 10 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. So by decocting, you're giving the yeast a lot of good nutrients as well to allow that lower temperature fermentation as well, which is yeah.
So definitely like decoction brings the flavor in the game. I just brewed last week, and fuck me, just tasting the wort side by side from a main mash, a decocted mash, like you get it in there.
Right, wow, okay.
And just before I left for my parents' house on Friday, I just did a sample. Almost were hitting the terminal gravity, and I'm like, that's and I added 20% of rice in that beer.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, I just love like rice things lately, so I'm using lots of certified rice. But I started a mash, gave it 20 minutes, really homogenize it, get the enzymes out of the husk, out of the grain, and then I took a portion away for the decoction, and then I added the rice into main mash. And there was still enough enzymatic power to break down even the rice. So yeah, I'm hitting 90% efficiencies on my brewing system,
okay.
And I'm like, I'm a yeast and enzyme slut.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you love those enzymes. It's really interesting actually to learn more about the benefits of decoction. I think 3 years ago when we first spoke, I'm not sure any of us had actually done any hands-on decoction.
I don't think so, because
possibly
I remember
not.
I know when we were talking about it, like I felt quite sad about it because you wanted to
Yeah.
discuss decoction, but we
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
believe
yeah,
it. So
yeah.
I mean, let's turn the tables now. Like, how you guys feel now about decoction?
It's great,
Yeah.
but yeah, it does add flavour, doesn't it? On like the house smells amazing, right? Wait, because I take the pot into the house, and then I boil it on that, and then all of a sudden, my wife is loving me because the house smells incredible, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of not quite baked bread, but pretty
Oh,
close in a sort of slightly different way.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of decoction mashing now, and having probably done it, I guess maybe like probably only 4 times so far. I've done
Yeah, three,
single and
four.
double. I've never done a triple. I'm not sure I have enough time in my
Yeah.
life to do a triple decoction. But I think practically, kind of got the process down. I think as long as you're like giving it a good stir and what's not. But
It's a mess.
hand on heart, I think it then genuinely does make a difference.
Honestly, I don't even
Yeah.
stir the mash, like the decoction mash. Like, I'm sitting somewhere around 3.5 water grain ratio, and I just make sure this is like just by feel. Like if the mash is thick enough, so the pump takes it. So that for me, like I don't even have to stir it because there is enough water in there to actually, as you start to boiling it, it raises it up. Because if you like, this is one of those misconceptions that if you're reading homebrew books and they will tell you, oh, the thick part because you're killing the enzymes and I'm if you visit enough breweries and you have the chance to go and see the decoction pan or decoction kettle, and you look inside, like that's definitely not thick because think of it like using pumps to transfer it between the mesh tun
Yeah.
as well as the mesh kettle. So like I'm just following that, and I mean like I have high efficiencies anyways.
Mhm.
I don't have to stir it and look over it, and just letting it let it boil for 30-35 minutes,
That's
and then
quite
it
long,
just
actually, yeah. Because normally I think I
yeah
was 10 minutes maybe I would let it boil for. Once I
yeah.
got it up to a
So
boil, 10 minutes. But you're doing
this is
30?
this is yeah, I do like at least 30 minutes. In Budvar we do 20 minutes, but like it in that size, using the
Yeah.
steam and all these things, like the efficiencies like on that are in different range. But when you like one thing I love, tannin extraction from the husks. I mean, how long would you have to boil it to extract tannins? And it's
Yeah,
like everyone's scared. But when we talk about decoction, it's a great. What I found recently about all the collabs, many of the international brewers they having the German brewing school, and German brewing school will tell you that they do to do decoction only for higher extraction. Yeah. So you would boil it for 4 minutes in order to break down enough carbohydrates to fermentable sugars that later, when it returns, all the enzymes to munch on it, break it down. Yeah. But that's for extraction. Then you get the Czech way, which is the brew house flavor.
mm,
So you need to go longer and like having a really rigorous boil. And if you got a good water to grain ratio, like you don't have to even stir it. I was actually, fun fact, I was really like pushing it closer to like 35, almost 40 minutes just to see like how far can I go. And I had no astringency, like smelled great, tasted great. It was like, yeah, like it's just, give it a go. Like
So,
read,
so
read.
the water to grain ratio you mentioned there, right? I take it then it's not thick. You're not putting it.
No, it's not fake. No, I think I've posted the video on my feed and on Instagram, and
Okay.
yeah, it's basically just a rolling boil, and it takes care of itself basically. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So this is super interesting, right? We need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get this across. So this is a bit of a Radim cheat code coming off here, and I think it's important that we get everyone understanding this. So what you're not doing, you're kind of debunking this whole you've got to pull the thick part of the
yes,
mash, right? So you're saying just pull mash and mash liquor
Yep.
at similar ratio.
Yes.
Put it in, but boil it for longer, and you don't need to stir it because, of course, it's got more.
Yeah, because it
it
will just naturally just start spinning, won't it?
Cool. Okay, that's interesting. And only because you're boiling longer, you're not having to do iterative decoctions. You're just going with like one.
Yeah, and that gives the flavour.
In the mash.
Like let's be honest. Both of you said like it's double decoction. It takes a long time. Triple decoction.
Yeah, very.
Fuck me. It's like 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
That you brew.
Yeah.
But this is something that we did with Malt Miller and Ricky, Jim, and they asked Ricky. I said Ricky. Sorry.
Ricky,
If and they were like, how to do decoction while not spending whole fucking day with that. And so I did 60 minutes where you homogenize all the malts that you're having in there. 30 minutes is even enough for conversion of carbohydrates to fermentable sugars and non-fermentable sugars. And then for last 30 minutes you take it out, you put it on a stove, and you just boil the shit out of it, and then you return it.
Sweet.
You do single step decoction within 60 minutes range that you would regularly do in your infusion mash. And Lance. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like Lance sends me always like the clarity of his words, and after decoction and after boiling. So I mean, that's just works,
Yeah, I mean, go on, Radu.
You can go about it the hard way or the simple way, but like there is like marginal difference in both. And I'm saying this super confident because I've done it like fucking 50 times. And I would put my lagers against any commercial lagers in terms of like flavor of the decoction there. What is more important is the selection of the malts, really having the low modified malts. The moment you start using anything that has a cold buck index over 38, that's where you like going to have a thin body of the beer.
So what malts would you use in the UK that's readily available just now then?
I mean, German malts, like Best or Weimann. That's the widely like Bohemian Pilsner type of thing. That's that worked for me. But I tell you one thing: since being in Czech Republic, I'm brewing with Czech malts. It's fucking awesome. I'm rediscovering myself when I'm in Czech Republic. I had this malt from like a local craft master that like craft breweries like brew with, and amazing. And then I had a souffle, which is multinational corporation that owns like 3 or 4 malt houses in Czech Republic. You can buy them as well online, and I brew with them as well because we use them in Budvar. Great, it just works. It's all about the level of modification for the
malt. You want low modified. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. This is really awesome. So just to recap then, so basically you're going with an infusion mash. Are you mashing in like generally lower? Are you kind of going like
67?
67, okay. And then
really?
You're going for like half hour.
I do all my beers in 67.
And cool.
it's just simply because the body, more of the malt flavor, you still achieve I don't do anything like 65. It's standard. I don't go with that. I go higher.
Just best of both worlds, right?
I mean,
right
it's
in the middle of that.
For me,
alpha,
me
beta,
personally,
amylase.
For me, it's the sweet spot. Doesn't have to work for anyone, but this personally for me, that's a sweet spot.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Ales, lagers, anything.
I'm sure I was doing
67 then. Yeah, for half an hour, and then you're pulling like 1/3 of the mash.
Yep.
Then boiling that for half an hour, returning it to the mash,
getting the mash out temperature 10 minutes.
Then mash out, and then so in theory, right, you're basically saying you can get that amazing decocted flavour, all the benefits of decoction, all in the space of a 60-minute mash.
70 minutes mash, yeah.
My life's changed.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said it last time in the podcast, I'm saying it again. You know, like you tried, you tested, you let me know what your experience was. But this is like something I take from professional world, you know, applying to the homebrewing world, and it's been working for me. And
that's awesome.
It's like, and I also like bring the cans to like different brewers just to get their sort of opinion on the flavors and everything. So. Yeah, I mean that's my bulletproof strategy, and you know you tested it. Let me know. You know, I'm always active.
Mate, if it works, it works. Like I'm absolutely trusting. If you've done it 50 times and you've tested it with pro brewers and all the rest of it, like I'm absolutely sold on that, because I think for the large part, I know like Tricky's pretty committed to just doing like a sort of last 15 minutes, like pulling a thick part of the mash, just doing decocting, stirring, just to kind of add some of that Maillard reaction flavor. Like he's trying to get that brewhouse flavor, right? And then of course it's not extending the brew day too long, but this actually sounds like a similar way of doing it, but probably getting with less effort and probably getting more flavor into the beer.
I mean, you know, like traditional brewing is not about like making your life complicated. You know, it's something that has been working for hundreds of years. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I wanted to simplify it when we were talking to the guys from the malt miller. We're like, you know, like how to make it. It's like, I mean, there's going to be my next T-shirt, "Made Decoction Sexy Again."
Yeah.
and
I mean, like, it's sexy.
Yeah. Do you acidify them out? Do you put any lactic or anything?
And this is the best thing. I do what we do in the brewery. We don't acidify at all. I did one project when I was measuring the pH at all stages of brewing. Our meshing pH is between 6 and 6.1.
No way.
I mean, yeah, zero fucks given, honestly. Yeah, that's so. I wrote this paper. It hasn't been publicized because the first part was about measuring the pH at all stages. The second part I want to do because I'm more closer to brewery now, so I can talk about more. It's you know, testing pH adjustment versus non-pH adjustment, and the yield, measuring the yield, if it really affects the yield. Because when I was just measuring the pH, I went to like 3 different papers and books: Bamford, Esslinger, and Kunze. And it's funny thing how actually they when they were talking about the pH range for all the enzymes, there were discrepancies because every one of them had a different like there were overlapping ranges, but they were like someone had like slightly like wider range for pH. And I mean, like many of these things are measured in a concoction mash, which is a mash done in lab conditions. They use 200 milliliters of water and 50 grams of malt. And that's how you measure it in lab. But then again, like geometry of the brew house, when you brew on 600 hectoliters, like it's still going to like behave differently. So that's why I want to measure that. And yeah, so our post-boil pH is 5.7.
Okay.
And then obviously the pH drops down with the fermentation. So final pH post-lagering is 4.7. So Czech Lager is quite higher in terms of the acidity when it comes to pH. But again, you know, like I always hate it, like
fine.
You know, yeah, like at home, especially like pipetting, you know, 6 milliliters of lactic acid, drop it there, and then you know the bath is different. You know, there were some things on the sun, and it's like the pH dropped to 5, and I was like, oh fuck, like it's going to be fucked up mash.
Yeah.
I don't do any pH adjustment. The water that I use is usually I use Budvar water. So yeah, there is no nothing added to it. Sometimes if I feel like I want to like play with the water because I like stop drinking with it. Those days when I was like measuring all sorts of chlorides, sulfates, and like measuring it on that I call it scales, and then just
Yep.
like 0.8 grams of this. Fuck it. Sometimes when I feel like I want to adjust the water, I use calcium chloride because generally I like full bodied beers.
Yeah, same.
But like as long as I hit like somewhere between that 100 and 150 of calcium for the yeast vitality and for the clarity of the beer, that's where I want to sit at. The rest I don't really like play about anymore. So I mean,
I'm the same. See, you mentioned about the chloride. I definitely like chloride slightly higher on my lagers because it gives that more malty breadiness thing, doesn't it? It kind of, it's good. Yeah.
But try and test it. I mean, it's a quite funny thing. Like when we were talking 3 years ago, and I would go like super technical about like really focusing on the minerals of the water, pH, and now it's just like I don't really give a fuck. And like
if you can make good beer, if you can make good beer, then that's fine. It's when things don't work out, and then it's like, how can I change it to get it to work?
I mean, that's the whole journey of brewing for myself. It was that like going that like super geeky way, reading a lot, experimenting a lot, and then like going the way be like, okay, so maybe like it's a good for knowing for the troubleshooting. If something goes bad, that's where the knowledge is super important, and that's what we want to do. But like brewing doesn't have to be complicated. Like brewing itself, like if you hit the process is right, I mean, you're in a good way. And then if your friends and yourself you appreciate the beer and you like it, that's a win. That's the win that counts.
So it's like
I need to get a beer quickly.
Do it.
I still hear you.
So there's a lot to be said for like fresh ingredients, simplicity,
and not taking pH readings.
But I do for the consistency I do take pH readings. In the mash, pre-boil, post-boil, and post-fermentation. It's just.
But yeah, if you want to do a Budvar clone, then you need to make sure pH is up at 6.
That's very true. That's very true. I'm more than happy to send you that paper. I mean, I was surprised myself because we've never measured it in the brewery because that's like some of the things that are passed on are the recipes, and all you're focusing on is just meant like you gotta
process.
What's it called? Like process changes, like different kind of malt, the different modifications and stuff like that. Or color is the biggest issue because like year on year, like the color changes as well. So we do hot side aeration, love it. When you read about hot side aeration, everyone like is scared of it, like it's a death or something. And we do like basically we do hot aeration at three stages. So
that's
and
deliberately.
That's balmy.
Yeah, deliberately to actually like we can adjust the color by 2 EBC if we do like
Incredible. There you go.
I actually had kind of a question. I know we're on the water chemistry kind of discussion about whether or not the water chemistry changes for the dark lagers or not.
Let's go to dark lager because when I saw the questions that you sent, I was like, let's debunk more myths about dark lagers.
Dude, that's what we're all about.
Debunk more myths.
Yeah, I mean, like the water is the same because like think of it a way, like if you brew around 2,400 hectoliters, that's almost 2.5 million, 5 million beers a day, or like that's the word for the beers. Like adjusting the water, it's such a like big massive thing that like no brewery like you would have to have a dedicated person that just like runs around and with acids, with the salt minerals, but are we talking about like hundreds of kilos for that amount of beers?
You'd be shoveling.
So no, yeah, literally shoveling. Yeah, literally shoveling. And
Yeah.
no, we don't do that. Like the water profile remains the same as for the pale lagers. Second thing, no pH adjustment in the brew house. For the pH measuring, I actually didn't take because that week we didn't brew any dark lager. But the dark lagers, like the roasted malts, are having like higher acidity, so I would assume it's going to drop, but not going to drop that massively. You know, from like 6.1, I would assume, and this is just my assumption. I don't take my word on that. You know, maybe 5, 6, 5, 7, probably. But once I'm great.
I don't normally need to make pH adjustments when I'm using dark malts because it normally comes into spec with my water anyway.
Yeah.
But when it comes to grain bill, majority is Pilsner malt. Then we're using a Munich, like a standard light Munich malt. I mean, don't ask me like Munich dark or whatever color coding they have. Then we use caramel malt, and then we use roasted malt with the husks. We don't use any de-husk versions like Carafa because again, like the shit is expensive, right? And same water to grain ratio, and the same decoction mashing as for the pale lagers. So 2 times 20 minutes boil. Yeah, and again, like there is no astringency leaching out of the dark grains. We don't do any like late mash dark malts additions or anything like that. It literally follows the same. So the operator who runs the brew house does the same thing. So I actually want to brew. I want to do something similar, like as I did with the pale version of original Budvar. I want to do it with the dark one as well. So maybe I need to reach out to Bold Miller doing a second version for a Czech dark lager.
Yep, I'm sure. Is Reiki not listening? I'm sure.
Yeah, Reiki's in the chat, right? So he's making notes, I'm sure, on collab opportunities with you. Just to clarify everything you just said, because we covered a lot of ground there in terms of dark Czech brewing. You're basically saying water profile doesn't change. You are using Pilsner malt, low modified Pilsner malt. You're using Munich. You're using some caramel malt, and you're using some husked roasted malt.
Roasted malt.
That's all going into the mash from the beginning, and you are decocting exactly the same way as you would your pale beer. Okay. That's not what I expected to hear, to be honest, because it was almost definitely not how I made my latest Czech dark beer. So I ended up putting I used all but the roasted malt in the mash. I decocted that. Then I think I put the dark malts in for the last 5 minutes of the mash, then sparged, just to try and kind of get less roastiness. So obviously you don't really want a lagered stout, right?
Yeah. I mean, my interesting thing is when I after the primary fermentation, when the beer goes to lagering vessels or lagering tanks, I always like to go there and sample the dark beers in 15 days, 30 days, 40 days, 60 days, because the dark lagers are lagered for 60 days, 2 months.
Okay.
And this is one thing that I don't agree with the brewers. I like the dark lagers somewhere between day 30, day 40, and it has really prominent chocolate flavor. Because don't forget that the lagering also takes the edges off as well. Not from the roasted malts. But the 30 to 40 days, you having really I call it cold cocoa, basically drinking cold cocoa. So I mean, if there is anything that you find astringency, keep it a lager for a little bit longer. Historically, the lagers used to be smoke and darky and dark, and that's why they lager it for such a long time, to get rid of the sharp edges of that. And I mean, with the dark lagers, I prefer them fresher than the pale lagers, to be honest.
Really? Okay,
60
interesting.
days.
Do you think that whole kind of dynamic and approach to how they obviously make a huge volume changes when you are talking about doing it at like 30 liters?
Absolutely. Like there's something like people don't discuss as much is the geometry of the brewing vessels, is the geometry of the
Yeah.
fermentation vessels, is the geometry of the lagering vessels. Like it's like the homogeneity of the liquid. Like it's going to behave differently. Like I noticed,
Pressures.
like I mean, like when it comes to fermentation, like even if I ferment with our yeast, like I take like small sample of the yeast from the brewery and I can ferment it within 5 days. Yeah, usually it takes around like 10 to 12 days on the bigger system. So I mean, like if you monitor the temperature, like I saw in the comments like about applying pressure. We do around 0.7 bars uh, pressure in the fermentation vessel, and that's just simply for the mechanics of the fermentation as well as its exposure to colder temperature. Yeah, we keep positive pressure in the tanks at all times.
7 bar or 7 psi.
0.7,
Oh,
0.7 bars.
0.7.
That's
Right,
like
okay,
like 8 psi or 9 psi.
Yeah.
And maybe also like it helps to drive off any sulfur compounds as well. And also like it keeps the yeast working a little bit harder. So
How
yeah.
might that whole kind of approach to how they make Budvar Dark might change when you're thinking about smaller batches for homebrew? So
I would follow the same. Honestly, like maybe like shorten the decoction time, but I haven't tried myself. So that's that's something maybe if anyone like is willing to do something, then go for it. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be afraid. I wouldn't be afraid. And if it happens, then lager it for longer. It's simple thing is that when you boiling the decoction, just take the bloody sample and taste it. Yeah, like tasting as you go. Like think of yourself as a chef. Like chefs when they cook, they like taste the thing like as they go. Yeah, so if you boiling the dark malts and you be like, okay, maybe this is on a brink of like leaching some astringency from the roasted malts, great, shove it off and shove it back into vessel and not keep boiling it.
Yeah.
It's like I mean like brewing is as technical as you wanted it, and like these like simple mechanics, like boil it, keep tasting it every 2 minutes, and be like, maybe this is good enough for me. Some people like don't get into that like a Schwarzbier thing.
yeah.
With the dominant roasted flavors. Czech Lager is about like drinkability, roundness, and balance. These are the things that define Czech Lager. So if you can like combine all the ingredients together, that's your goal. Like if you want to have more roasting, great. Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that's the kind of thing you are, just to emphasize that point, we really are trying to avoid. Maybe what might be useful, right, is Radim, you could sort of best describe for our listeners what defines a Czech dark lager, right? In terms
Okay.
of, and also how it's different to other dark lager styles.
Absolutely. No, it's a good question because it's always Czech dark lager, Schwarzbier, Dunkel. That's the triangle that everyone's like. I hate it always when they call it Dunkel or dark lager in the UK, especially like the Manchester area. Call it Dunkel. I'm always like opening my knife in a pocket and wants to stab someone. Joke, obviously. Yeah, joke. Just
Yeah.
sorry, that's
I'm
a
gonna
very
stab
great
you.
joke. But yeah,
all been
so
there.
what defines Czech Lager? Definitely the body and the flavor profile that comes from decoction. the roasted malts are not dominant. They more sort of aiding to the bigger picture or the whole composition of the beer. The bitterness, it's there to support the residue sugars, not not being as dominant. Yeah, it's about drinkability, complexity, and balance. That's Czech lager. When we talk about Schwarzbier tends to be more thin in the body, with a higher attenuation level. The roastiness is more dominant, and usually you would use some sort of like a sulfur forward yeast for fermentation. But it's more about I would say just like thinner in the body, not as complex, more like dry roasted malts, straightforward.
Yeah, drier.
Yeah.
That's a point. Yeah.
Yeah, Dunkel. That's about that malt complexity with the bitterness, just supporting it. Much more in that like a copper sort of a color. Super drinkable, one of my favorite styles. But definitely like the Dunkel would more compete with the Czech Amber, and Czech Amber is the absolutely shite style. Don't ever brew. I mean, like so many brewers
doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, caramel malts in a dark lager is great. In a pale lager is terrible idea.
Yeah.
In terms of stability, in terms of the oxidation, in terms of like the cloyiness, it gives me the ick thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm very opinionated today, by the way, because this is my like 6th beer or 7th beer.
Yeah. No, you get
good.
Up, mate. It's all good. Someone actually asked you what were you drinking?
So this is the local brewery that I've posted on my Instagram today in the stories. Very small brewery. They do very decent lagers, and this is a West Coast IPA, which actually tastes like West Coast IPA because Czech people don't necessarily are adjusted to the very like dry bitterness. And these guys actually did it very well. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to go back to the US in 2 weeks' time and drink some proper West Coast. But this is getting much more closer. Love it.
Interesting.
I mean, we were skipping a lot from the questions that you had as the conversation progressed. I think Brad was asking about the fermentation temperature, right? So so for Czech lagers or general, like I can talk for our brewery, we never exceed 10 degrees Celsius, and we don't do any acid arrest. So all the reduction of the acid happens in the lagering vessel as the yeast has the time to break it down to less flammable compounds. But like homebrewing conditions, mate, 3470 and 13 degrees. After 5 days fermentation, ramping up to 15 and keep it there for another 3 days. I mean, it's what you make it. I mean, the longer fermentation actually creates more fermentable complexity. Yes. But at the same time, depending on what yeast strain do you have, which generation of the yeast it is. In general, keeping it at 10 degrees, great.
Yeah.
It's I always describe
dry hopping also messes about with your diacetyl production massively. If you dry hop lagers, I did a New Zealand Pilsner, and it's diacetyl because, and it was in tank for ages, but for whatever reason, the dry hopping seems just mess with it big time.
Yeah, because like the hops also has some carbohydrates, and the enzymes can break it up, like the typical hop creep situation, right? Like you have an amazing beer, and then it warms up, the residues will start to work again, and then breaks it down, ferments it, and all of a sudden you got a dark bomb in a can or in a bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, and they usually disappointed me saying like dry hopping lagers.
Yeah, it's just don't. I think I'm at that point now where I don't think I'll ever dry hop.
New Zealand Plus is a great style, and I dry hop mine as well.
But then do you actually need to, or can you not just late hop it?
Pure whirlpool. That's what I
Just
do. Using pilsners.
Yeah.
Like,
And then
like,
you don't need to mess about.
I mean, for my New Zealand pills, like I'm always relying on a Whirlpool hop edition.
Yeah.
And
I think, yeah.
you know, if I dry hop, like it's not gonna be like the majority of the portion of the hops. You know, like if you, it's quite interesting. I did some batches where I did dry hopping versus Whirlpool hopping, and I prefer the Whirlpool hopping part because of that like green leafy flavors of the hops. Because like if you're creating a clear like fermentation profile, and then you're having some of the polyphenol compounds flavor in it from heavy dose dry hopping,
Yeah.
and you know, I would keep it like less than like 2 grams per liter for the dry hopping part. You know, just to fine tune it rather than get the majority of the flavors from there.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to dry hop a New Zealand Pilsner, you could consider doing maybe like a active fermentation dry hop, like that might work.
It's
Yeah, it's in there. It's in there, and then when you want to then start ramping it down and cap on so you get natural spunding, then it just messes with it big time.
But then you're not going to risk clarity, right? Which is the key part of the style, in my opinion. I think you'd much prefer to drink a bright New Zealand Pilsner than you would a hazy one. And then also diacetyl as well, right?
I mean, for the clarity, like Brett Harmon would give you some good tips on how to use Browsol.
You're just like 60 mil of Browsol, just Browsol the shit out of it
I mean,
that's what I did, right? Listen, so I actually opened up the fermenting vessel. I'd slowly ramp down the temperature whilst on pressure, so it would get natural carbonation. And then I thought, I'll put some Browsol in. I put the Browsol in, and it turned into a volcano, like out the top of the. And I had to open up the vent valve, see the side one, right? I had to open that so I could actually get the lid on with the clamp while foams come firing out the breather, right? And then I was No, it just like as soon as you put Browsol in carbonated beer, man, it was just like
anything going into carbonated beer is gonna have a violent reaction.
Nucleation points.
Brett's admitted his Browsol addiction. The first important step, Brett, is acknowledging you have a problem. Okay.
I mean, Brett is the only home brewer that buys Browsol in the size of a commercial brewery.
Yeah. Yeah, he's.
By the way, I love you, Brett. I love you. Sorry for that.
Bless him. We just he's not Browsoling that much.
Yeah, but I think just last one on Browsol. I think in future I'll just put it in keg and then transfer on top of it, and then that way it's all under pressure and no issues that way.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, using a hop drop as well, and also like if I do any dry hopping under pressure, I'm always adding the what's it called, citric acid, vitamin C. So just for any sort of a oxygen pickup, and you know I would add my Browsol with the dry hopping again. I mean, as part as it gets, like you know, it again doesn't have to be complicated because like you essentially like settling the proteins, not the polyphenol part. So, I mean that test it and let me know as well. It's
Does I take it Budvar doesn't need to do any sort of clarity agents because of the.
We use filtration. Yeah. So.
I use filtration. Okay.
Yeah. So we use the cementitious earth and PVPP.
Yeah.
So it was like you need to have that as a standard for the stability of the beer.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, it's a long debate on filtered versus filtered beer, but in the size of the brewery, all the different markets that we export to, like you need to have a stable beer.
Yeah, exactly.
The haze is not necessarily helps it. I've tried our beers in Australia, And like at some instances, I was like, this is not even our beer. Because it goes on a boat, it keeps on shaking, it's in a bottle, like the bottle doesn't like very seal well. It's so you want to send the beer out of the brewer as stable as possible. If you're homebrewing again, like you have like much wider margin of error on your stability of the beers. But that's filtration. I mean, I prefer it same as pasteurization. It's just, again, what you try to achieve. Do a stable beer for long distance market.
6 to 12 months, 12 months sort of shelf life thing, yeah.
I've got changing conversation slightly, that we were talking about fermentation and how a lot of Czech breweries apparently use open fermentation, and they also, is it true that they commit to skimming the krausen from the the sort of like dark brown stuff? Is there any truth in that?
I mean, when I first saw the question, a lot of breweries in Czech use open fermentation. I'm like, okay,
never seen that.
I mean, historically yes, but since the technology developed massively, like having the cylinder connected tanks, it saves the space, and also like you don't have any like chance of a like airborne contamination to the beer. I know there are some breweries, like traditional breweries, they still use that, but hand on the heart, if you drink those beers from those breweries, probably are not as popular beers as other brands. It's and I know, like, it's like the open fermentation, but for many years I felt like it's a great thing. You see like lots of American brewers, like having fermentation rooms with the open fermenters in. I mean, yeah, I would say, like, in our brewery in early 90s, we had open fermenters, and the cylinder conical technology was just getting sort of started. So our previous brewmaster, Josef Tolar, he actually installed the cylinder conical tanks alongside the open vats. And for 4 years, they were like testing the consistency of the beer. And then they decided to dig out the open fermenters and replace it with the cylinder conical tanks. So, I mean, cleaning wise, like, I've been to some German breweries, they have like automatic CIP for their open fermenters. I know like it more matters for like wheat beers, German wheat beers. Like they swear like the ratios of the height versus diameter and stuff like that, like, really affects the ester forming profile. Yes, but for lagers, honestly, I've tried some open like fermented beers, like Cohesion in Denver. Eric, he does like amazing lagers. I always call Cohesion like home away from home. Works for him in a small production, great thing. But in Czech Republic, like having open fermenter, it's I mean, it has more risk than benefits, in my opinion, and this is my subjective opinion on that. So yeah, skimming. I mean, historically, they were skimming all the like the polyphenols and proteins that is lifted up by the yeast cells and stays in the high corrosion. There's this, like, it looks like a ski that you would skim it off, but I have never seen it myself, like personally skimming the yeast like that. Also, like, the yeast is usually in the spans. Like everyone talks about like top fermented, bottom fermented. The bottom stays at the bottom. Everything stays at the bottom at the end, anyways. But like for clarity of the beer, there's more things you can do than skimming the harsher parts of the hop polyphenols. I've never seen it myself, like personally, and I visit lots of breweries, so it's just imagine this thing, you're touching the beer with some like other like things that you can contaminate the beer or the wort with. So I mean,
that's not yeah.
Well, you can go the sort of Nordic style and just use like a completely unsanitized big wooden spoon. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I would love to try the beer and test it for myself.
Yeah, try it out. Why not? So we've covered off that weird myth that AI decided to generate for us, which is handy. So what else have we got to talk about? I was keen to sort of talk a bit about. We started the conversation on talking about Saaz quite early on, and there was an interesting point that we pulled out around how Saaz tends to be quite heavy in a particular hop oil, which is called farnesene.
Yeah. I mean,
and how that. Say again.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Did I mispronounce it?
No. Farnesene is great. It's just the more important thing is one of the alphas is called cohumulon. The oil content matters to some degree. For the certain hop aroma and flavor.
Yeah.
But like most of the breweries will add last addition 30 minutes before the end. So not necessarily like carrying over any oils
Flavor.
and also that will contribute to flavor and aroma. But sorry, I'm reading the comments. I love this. Oh, Brett's giving me shit. Anyways, fuck you, Brett. So no, it was Lance. Fuck you, Lance too. But
Get with the
yeah,
times.
so the important thing there is the cohumulon. Saaz is one of the varieties that has lowest cohumulon, and cohumulon alpha acid that contributes to that like sharp bitterness of the beer. Hence why it's like if you really want to create like really well balanced bitterness, you want to go with a low cohumulon. That's something that's super important. I think the lowest of the lowest is actually Simcoe. So it would be quite interesting to brew with Simcoe lager.
Don't. Remember that one? Was it Charles Farham hop tester, and I went and put Simcoe as a bittering because I'd heard it was a good bittering hop, but it completely changes. Like Simcoe will bring bags of flavour at 60 minutes or whatever if you want to do it that way. Yeah,
definitely. Well, I think when it was compared to 3 other beers that had used Magnum,
UK,
for example, and you'd use Simcoe, kind of stands out, right? But that's quite interesting. I'd been reading about cohumulone oil content and the importance to kind of keeping that to sub 35% of the overall oil content to sort of avoid that sort of spiky, quite unpleasant bitterness that can happen, and particularly with like dry hopping as well, I think is a major factor, and I think maybe that's kind of where perhaps some of the Australian
Galaxy, I was like,
can start to come into play, where people are reporting quite kind of unpleasant
battery acid,
astringent.
It's quite interesting because every September we brew fresh hop, 16 degrees Plato, which comes around like 7.5 degrees only, like available in the cellars. Once in a while we release it in the wild, but we do 3 varieties. One is Agnus. Agnus is a hop with like almost twice as much cohumulon as you have in Saaz, and as a like it's smash basically. So like comparing that to Saaz, like in terms of like the bitterness and that like bitiness of the bitterness, it's very very interesting. So that's So for me, like for Czech Lagers, I don't necessarily like focus on oil content. The farnesene, great. But like if you like don't do any like late hopping additions or whirlpool hopping additions, it doesn't really translate to it. But the cohumulon level is much more important in terms of the roundness of the bitterness and like the overall contribution to drinkability.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
So
I think actually one of the interesting challenges for Saaz, for anyone that's used it in homebrewing, is just the sheer volume of it that you have to use because of the alpha acid contribution in the hop.
Yep.
I'm
just
guessing.
good. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm guessing your Budvar's having to use like huge volumes of Saaz in the amount that they're brewing.
Well, I mean, one batch takes around 120 kilos around. That's depending on the recipe and the alpha acid content. But yeah, so you're doing 12 batches a day, so you're almost at 2.5 tons a day. So 52 weeks.
Use all that
That's
Saaz.
all Saaz for our original 10 degrees Plato, using just Saaz in a whole cone form. So that's again like, when you talk about bitterness, like bitterness is not only alpha isomerized alpha acids, but also like there are 6 elements to it. One of which is like the polyphenol content as well, or even like beta acid as well. Even though they are not as dissolvable, they work more as antioxidants. But again, like it can still contribute to. I had one of the greatest sessions at the university when they were just talking about like bitterness with some PhD candidates and just describing like what are the elements of bitterness. So I mean there's much more to it. At home, whole cone is something that it fucks up the system. But
It's good.
yeah, you have to put it in the socks, making sure there's enough space once it's home to work and all those things. Brewers, like when we did the collab with Homebridge, Rob Lovett, the head brewer, like he swears by whole cones, like the bitterness profile that it delivers to beer. I mean, Jaipur is mostly like whole cones on the hot side. And
Yep.
so I mean, it's one of the fucking greatest beers that I've drank, and and yeah, it's quite interesting. It's like from home brewing conditions, it's really hard to find whole cone, but even like with the pellets, it's still.
Malt Miller, we can get most of the lager hops whole cone from the Malt Miller, so that's what I do. I'll get all my German hops or what's it called? Savensky Goldens, or what was it? Celia or something like that? Was it? Owen?
Holdings.
Yeah. You get that old leaf. I always buy leaf now, and just put it in my. I've got mold mash bag that I used, and it's just a big huge bag and I just put all my leaf hops in that. It's good.
I mean, again, like try test it. Like you obviously have on this, so I'll have to hear that.
Yeah, I love whole cone. Yeah.
I mean, I have an issue with my system because it's like once you clog the pump, not fun to clean, and yeah, I've sprayed my ceilings of the room many times, but because you need to charge CO2 into the lines just to push it through. But yeah, I'm just looking at the comment section. So yeah, WLP 800, it's a Urquell yeast strain. WLP 802 is a Budvar yeast strain. We got to try and test it, and when we do collabs of outside of Europe where we cannot send our yeast from the brewery, we're actually using the White Labs 802. That's we gotta try and confirm. I'm going to drop a little golden nugget. Hopefully there's something to be expected from Lallemand soon. Boom. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Okay. Cheers. Bud.
There you go, Lallemand.
Keep an eye on that.
Not
website.
Not WHC, no.
Yeah. I mean, it's like.
So we need, so you need to get in touch with Andy at Lallemand.
I mean, the hardest thing is that if you never had dry yeast and you trialing certain yeast strains, like you want to have at least like surviving capacity or viability of 60%. And not every yeast strain can undergo that drying process. So it really means that the drying process like is the hardest fucking part of creating dry yeast. So shout out to all the different brands that actually like do like really good yeast in that sense. But that's been like ongoing project for past year and a half now. still like working on that. Maybe it will come out, maybe it will not. Yeah, but this is if something comes out, hopefully it's what you're going to get. Like
That would be
again,
mega.
yeah, everyone uses like VLB strains or Weinstefanen strains or some Swiss whatever they called. I mean, like there's nothing for Czech style lager, so I mean they'll be quite great for homebrew community.
Yeah, it really would. Yeah, because I think if you really want to make a legitimate
Authentic.
authentic Czech lager, you really have to be wet yeast direction, right? What out of interest, what's your go-to sort of wet Czech yeast? I mean, I guess you're just taking out the lager out the brewery, right?
Yeah, usually I take from our propagation station.
Yeah, you
And,
just like, guys, yeah, I need. I'm making a beer this weekend.
I mean, just I just walk in there, just help myself. But as I works in our brewery. But yeah, I must say, like, shout out to Paul from WHC, because he gave me, like, I don't know, just before I moved back to Czech Republic, he gave me like a full pack of Einstein yeast, and like fuck me, like whenever I do rice lagers or any sort of like a developing lagers, I'm using like it's 3470 essentially, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like that's a real like good high quality yeast. It's like I play with what I have available in Czech Republic. WHC is not here. Wink, wink. But yeah, it's like usually like you find Fermentation or Lallemand in Czech Republic, but yeah, if you can have a fresh yeast, and I mean like, why not take it from the brewery, But I want to experiment more with other yeast strain, because there is like two main sort of legs of yeast strain in Czech Republic, and I want to experiment more with other different ones. I've been, like I've been talking to brewers, like what yeast strain they're using for the lagers. So I want to do more experiments on that, just to see, what it has to offer, how it behaves, and what's overall fermentation profile. So yeah. I mean, that's a great thing to be back in Czech Republic again. So I can get more into depth of Czech lager.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when you do have a beautiful Czech yeast on tap, that's quite an attractive prospect. What's your thoughts on the WHC Après Ski, which is the Swiss yeast? What's your thoughts on that?
I've never brewed it.
Have you not?
Yeah.
I mean, some more. I really like it.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion, just simply because I've never tried it.
He's a Lallemand guy. Oh, and he likes Lallemand. No WHC.
No. Like no, I like WHC. Like, I mean, their qualities are fucking amazing from WHC. Like that's a great fucking game. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to experiment when I was living back in the UK with other yeast strains, and I mean, it's I don't want to call myself a conservative man, but if something works for you and you're spending 6 hours of a day brewing 20-liter batch, and you go with what you trust rather than like experimenting more. I mean, that was just my view back when I.
So what is your go-to yeast?
3470.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like any brands, like I think Lallemand is Diamond, WHC is Einstein, 3470 is Fermentation. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I want to do something really authentic, like obviously I would go for White Labs. If like there is anything like in terms of like the German, like the brand, the VLB strains, but yeah.
I'm more of an Oktoberfest strain sort of guy, so
I
was it the hop and pills, because it leaves that residual sugars that just gives that what we're kind of having with this. It's that sort of sweetness that you get, the kind of maltiness that comes through.
Our yeast strain has 80% attenuation, around 80%. So I always like to go with the yeast strain that has around that same attenuation level. It's like
so that's quite high. Yeah, it's high attenuation. So what does it finish? Do you know what terminal gravity it finishes at?
Original?
No, terminal. So what's the final gravity?
Yeah, but, sorry, but do you mean Budvar original?
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
There we go. No, that was a great moment because using the word original. So 2.5 finishing gravity or terminal gravity.
Plato.
Yeah. So 10 for 10 10. Around 10 11.
Which is still got a bit of sweetness to it because lagers can go quite dry as 10 0 or something.
I mean 8, like, for example, Pilsner Urquell has 64% attenuation level.
Okay.
So actually, I'm just going to branch off quickly. As I was attending a recap for the Bohemian Pilsner, up until last year it was called Bohemian Pilsner.
64%.
Yeah,
64.
64%.
The yeast.
Yes. And up until last year, the Bohemian Pilsner style was categorized like mostly like copying the Pilsner Urquell fermentation. So the terminal gravity or final gravity was 3.5 for Czech Lagers, and I was like, that's too fucking high for Czech Lagers because Czech Lagers would be finishing somewhere between 2.2, 2.6. Yeah, so it was very high. So I got in touch with the director. They came to Czech Republic. I showed them like a couple of breweries, and they always had the question about the diacetyl thing. It's like, so I sent them some samples of different breweries. I brought them in. We went around breweries, and after the weekend, I asked them like, so what do you think? And they said, well, Czech Lager doesn't have diacetyl. It only has like PU has it. And I was like, great, because when they sent me the guidelines, I redistributed between 12 brewers from large and small breweries, and the feedback came back, they said like, except one, that Czech Lager doesn't have a diacetyl. So from now on, the World Recap Guidelines is not called Bohemian Style Pilsner, it's called Czech Style Lager or Czech Style Pale Lager, and the diacetyl thing is diacetyl is at low level, almost undetectable. And finally, they changed the attenuation level or the final gravity or terminal gravity to I think it's 2.2 now to 3.5, so wider range. So that's quite interesting how it works in terms of residue sugars and but it's a simple math. So if you get a 4.4% lager, that's I think they're starting around like 11.5, somewhere between 11 and 11.5 Plato. If you ferment it to 3.5, you have 64% attenuation. So you can make the math yourself. Because in Czech Republic we taste the beer based on the original gravity, not by the alcohol. So everyone need to disclaim what's the original gravity. So then you can backtrack it to know what's the attenuation level.
Yeah, because you always talk. Yeah, it's 10 Plato beer or whatever. Yeah, 12 Plato beer. Yeah.
Okay. So what you're kind of saying there, Radim, is there's kind of like a one brewery outlier in Urquell. In the
I mean, it's a great brewery. First of all, I don't want this to come across as any sort of beef. Yeah, those guys are brilliant. They did a lot for brewing in general, and their beer is great. I just don't like the diacetyl, but I drink those beers in certain places in Prague and ambient places when they serve it at around like 2 degrees Celsius, dispensing temperature. So it mutes the diacetyl, and I enjoy that beer. It's great. It's just like the warmer it gets, the more diacetyl you get, and that's my issue. I'm sensitive to diacetyl. So
yeah, right. And but you're saying that the yeast strain that they use tends to finish much higher, lower attenuation, probably in part
and higher
maybe
diacetyl.
the reason why they end up with diacetyl. Interesting.
Interesting fact, like our yeast strain It actually it originated in Pilsner, but obviously throughout the years it it has changed or mutated. So even like when I try our beers once it goes into lagering phase, like the acid is not as pronounced there, so it's quite like good on the acid level. I'm just like quickly looking up online what's the attenuation level with the WLP 800, and yeah, it claims like 72 to 77, and yeah, it's quite higher in terms of that. But I know that this is something like you can calculate yourself, and R is slightly higher. Wow, even like that's 70 to 75, which is interesting in terms of what's the actual practice.
Yeah. And Andy mentioned earlier that like one of the yeasts we're a big fan of is hopping pills from WHC, which is the Märzen yeast. So it's a Munich-based like fest beer yeast, which tends to, I think, only attenuate to like low 70s, 72% maybe is the guidance on attenuation. But it adds this and leaves this lovely residual malt sweetness to beer, which is actually not dissimilar to how the Budvar yeast strain reacts, but obviously Budvar is attenuating that a bit lower, so you're getting a little bit more drinkability, a little bit of a crisper flavor.
I mean, our yeast strain is quite funny in terms of like ester profile as well. Like I found our yeast strain to be estery. It's when you taste the beers in the cellar, like you can get slightly like a low ester profile that is not like typical for like lagers. But like even if you tasted it in a bottle, you have it like you definitely come across like slightly estery. But I mean, it's a great thing because like yeast can derive like 600 different sort of flavors and aromas. And whenever we brewed like outside of our brewery, doing any collaborations, it was very interesting in terms of the signature flavor of our yeast. So
how it reacts outside of its natural habitat.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's still there. Like you can taste the yeast. Like we did a collab with the Baladine Brewery from Italy. They've never brewed lager before. They celebrated 30 years this year, and we brewed beer with them, which is part of their core portfolio. And I was amazed, like testing the beer, and I'm like it's like it has the Budvar soul, because that's what the yeast like leaves it there. So yeah. But I'm definitely like I'm quite interesting to try the. Did you say the Oktoberfest yeast? Are you guys using?
Yeah, I guess it's sort of the Märzen yeast, so it's like
Märzen yeast. Okay,
yeah,
nice. I need to try that. Like honestly, that's I mean now is the time to brew the Oktoberfest beers, right? So
yeah, would be right. Yeah, get them stuck in now and get them ready. And of course, they're typically brewed in March, aren't they? So we're probably even a little bit late. I'm not sure what the WLP is. It 802? 802 from
802 is the Budvar yeast. 800
no, that's
is
the
the
Budvar
yeast.
yeast. Yeah, can't remember which is the Märzen yeast. I reckon.
So what is the one from WHC? World.
That's called Hopping Pills, but they have subsequently discontinued that yeast, which is a massive shame because it was absolutely amazing. And I've literally just used the last of my supply, so I am now officially all out of Hopping Pills, but I'm probably going to have to stick some in a jar.
820 was WLP 820, so Oktoberfest strain.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Easy to remember.
I just spooned it. 802. No, it was 820. So it's the WLP Oktoberfest lager yeast. Yeah.
if you just guys give me a second, I need to jump to the toilet because I think I had like
Yeah,
5
same
minutes.
here. Yeah, look, we're probably going to wrap up in a second, but yeah, head to the loo and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, it's a real shame that they discontinued hopping pills, and
It is a
I
shame.
think they marketed it totally wrong, but it was like, oh, this is for like hoppy lagers or something like that. They should have went, this is your Oktoberfest sort of, if you want
should have.
maltiness, it would have just sold. But I don't know if it was, maybe it wasn't actually to do with that, it was more to do with how they actually grew it, and they couldn't actually get the yields as well for the cost. So
Yeah, I think it might have been drying viability. They might have struggled with, and that's probably the predominant like commercial decision making point.
exactly.
But the amount of different beer styles you could make with it was really
I made
you
a
know,
lot of amazing beers, and it's like, well, how am I now
was
going to
fab.
get? Yeah,
But obviously, you can still get it in WLP. You can get it in wet pouches. And
Yeah.
get the medicine lager
Yeah, yeah,
yeast, which if I'm
mean,
ever thinking about making a Oktoberfest or a medicine, then I'd definitely consider just punching out on the.
I don't know. I do a lot of lager brewing, so I want a dry yeast that I can rely on. So where can I?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know how much difference you're going to really notice between using that versus a Einstein or a
Well, I've
Diamond
switched
or
Einstein. Yeah,
naturally, what you can do is just manipulate the finishing gravity by like going, okay, look, I'm gonna
Decoct.
mash this that bit higher, aiming for a slightly higher finishing gravity, reflecting the fact that WHC hopping pills had a relatively
There we
low
go.
attenuation of 72%. You can kind of figure it out, right?
There you
But
go.
equally, it's never
Ricky.
quite the same.
Yeah,
Never quite the same.
yeah. Reiki says Apres just wasn't popular with commercial breweries. Unfortunately, the strains homebrew get driven by commercial use. So that's what's happening.
Oh, so is Apres off out the door as well? Because I was a big fan of Apres.
Oh no, I mean hopping pills. Sorry,
Oh, okay. Paddies. Yeah.
but it's a shame. Okay, well,
Yeah, and I actually agree with you, Andy. Maybe it was just about kind of how they marketed it. But equally, I'm not sure breweries are typically looking for a pretty niche Oktoberfest medicine yeast year round. I think they're looking for that once a year, obviously, right?
I mean, like usually you wanted it like clean profile with most of the like commercial breweries, especially like if lager is not your focus. Like you
yeah,
want to go with something that like has the attenuation level, has the cleanliness, doesn't produce much acetyl, doesn't produce much sulfur. That's pretty much that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, true. And also like a sort of low attenuating yeast is like commercially that's probably going to cost you more. Essentially, like you're having to put more malt in that beer in order to be able to get the same ABV, versus like a higher attenuating yeast. So that's a factor, right?
I mean, like there's 2 ways to go about it, right? So, like creating like a lower mesh temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, generally like multi residue lagers, like are they popular? Or like if you look at it like the big multinational corporations, you're going to have liquid that has like even lower than two Plato finishing gravity. It's like it's all about the extract and the utilization. It's a spreadsheet exercise.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's what the accountants worry about. Good point. So, Radim, I love the fact that you've absolutely blown apart most of our questions with your pure simplicity of like, guys, you're overthinking this. We've figured this out. Czech brewing is so much simpler than you think it is, and actually sort of rooted us to this really exciting idea that actually beer, making good Czech lager is a lot simpler than you probably think it is. I loved your tip on decoction mashing. That is an absolute gem of a takeaway. I can't wait to give that a go.
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of pretty much at the end of the podcast there. Unless there was any other discussion points you wanted to bring up, Radim. Otherwise,
I mean, it's already literally 2 hours in. So
yeah, exactly. I think we've.
I mean, I wouldn't overcomplicate it too much now and dwelling on some like facts. But for me, it was great. It was great. I actually listened to a podcast that we did a couple of years back or a few years ago, and it's quite interesting how can present evolve and simplify the life. Because I thought like my direction is going to be like more like difficult and more into depths of whatever physics, biochemistry, whatever things. But then like more you get into this like rabbit hole, then you'll be like, okay, that's good for troubleshooting. But like brewing and home brewing, like it's more about consistency, and then like changing those little things. Like if you want to make a drinkable beer, like it doesn't have to be like that hard.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wouldn't use the word simple, because like beer can be fun, and it doesn't have to be overcomplicated or oversimpled. It's just like right in the middle.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm not quite sure what the right word is, but there's beauty in simplicity, right? But my experience is it's not easy to get to simplicity.
Yeah, it's as complicated as you make it.
Exactly right. And I think there is only the ability to get to simplicity once you have mastered and understood the subject.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say that's the thing, because like my first like 3 years was like, fucking hell, this beer like needs to be perfect. But then like more you get to it, it'd be like, well, actually it doesn't have to be that complicated. I mean, like I will invite everyone, to like I believe the guys, the Malt Miller, are still selling the kit for the Czech Lager. It's with the Most variety, which is like one of the like beautiful newer varieties of from Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And go test it yourself, get your opinion. I think we did 20 minutes decoction on the recipe. Like go higher, taste the wort as you go. That's I mean like the key takeaway point. Like just taste it. See like is it bready enough? There's enough melanoidins. Great, send it into mash tun. Yeah, just play with it. Play with it yourself. Like it can be as complicated as you make it.
That actually is one of the key takeaways, as you pointed out, Radim, is just taste it as you go. Like it's such a simple piece of advice. Actually, kind of takes a bit of mental awareness and practice to do that. Because actually, I admit, like 6-7 years into my brewing experience, I don't do that enough. So that's something I'm definitely taking out of this conversation and thinking, I'm gonna do more of that.
Oh, and I remember tasting the malts and learning so much from just tasting the malt itself.
Yeah.
It was just making a simple malt tea, just to understand the base malts you're using, the specialty malts that you're using. It doesn't take anything. You just basically pour it into hot water, and just taste that. It's a quite like interesting fact. Like, like people are like, all these like hop teas, tasting like crazy varieties, but make it with malt. Same thing. Give it 20 minutes. Let the enzymes work. Taste it. That's just I think I've never repeated enough. Like taste it. Like it's like you could affect so many steps of the process just by tasting the raw materials and the process, how it affects the flavor of it. And I think the most, like, we haven't covered enough, but the fermentation. Like, please have a controlled fermentation.
Oh
Like
yeah.
invert, fridge, thermostats. Like, make sure you control the fermentation. That's always, I don't do as much like homebrew judging as I used to, but like every once in a while, someone comes in and is like, "Hey, can you taste my Czech lager?" Great, I will, but please talk to me about fermentation. Like having it in the winter in a bucket somewhere in a cold room, not great. You want to monitor that fermentation, just like like at the end of the day, like we are just like slaves for the yeast, nothing else. Because yeast does the majority of the work, and if the yeast is not happy, if the yeast doesn't have like good environment, and if you have zinc, and I say it again, zinc is your best friend, to like really get it in there. Keep the yeast happy and control the fermentation. If you want to just the rest, do it. Great, because no one, like at the home brewing setup, no one has really the capabilities to lager beer for 3 months. You can whip up a good lager within 4 or 5 weeks, but you really need to control the nutrients, control the pitch yeast, pitching yeast. I'm fucked.
Like the yeast count, the amount of
yeast count.
present,
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And monitor the fermentation temperature. If you have like these three intact, then you can build up on those elements on hot side and the lagering side. But like if you miss out the 10 days period of fermentation, that you can, like, all your work can go down the drain basically. Make the yeast work for you, and you work for the yeast.
And that's like really like fundamentals of lager brewing is kind of largely, it's a lot about the cold side, isn't it? More so than the hot side. And Radim, it's been absolutely amazing chatting to you again. Thank you for coming back. It's been a lot of fun talking to you. I know I've learnt a huge amount that I'm going to be carrying out of this podcast and into my home brewing.
Couple of gold nuggets.
It's been awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolute pleasure, sir. Episode 137 in the bag. I have already posted the Google Meet chat link into the chat. So listen, if anyone wants to just come by, you're not sure, you haven't joined before, it is just a free conversation. Everyone's welcome, super friendly. We're just going to have a few beers and chat shit basically, and talk possibly about home brewing and beer. Otherwise we might just be talking about all sorts. So feel free to come by. Introduce yourself and say hello. Radim, hopefully you're going to be there too. I'm sure you will.
I will.
Otherwise, I think it is over and out.
Cool.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Cheers, guys.
See you later.